It's not easy. Sabi mo, life's not hard.
Life is hard.
Hi everyone, my name is Japs. I'm misinformation.blog on Facebook, Instagram, and my blog. I'm glad to see you again today. For this video, I'm going to introduce you to my husband for 16 years. And we're going to share with you something special. Actually, we've been doing this for quite some time now, and we're posting it on Facebook and Instagram. This time, we will post it on YouTube. So for this video, we're going to share with you our tips, and we will call it 10 ways to not have a happy marriage. As a married couple for 16 years, we've been through a lot already, and we're actually a young couple, and we got married really early, and so these tips are helpful for you to know the do's and don'ts in marriage and certain relationships. And at the same time, a little bit of disclaimer, this is not a one-size-fits-all. There's a big chance that our advice may not be 100% the right solution for your problem. But at the end of the day, this is just a guide for you to know the certain solution for your problem. So my husband doesn't really know what's on this list, and he will just give us some of his ideas and his take on what I listed down in here. First is to live with someone else. So if you want to get separated anytime soon, live with someone else.
Couples living in with their family or their in-laws or someone else. I think after you get married, it's just right that you move out. That's the number one rule, right? Of course, it's biblical, first and foremost. Second, you know how the saying goes, there can never be two queens in a house. So if living in, like, for instance, with your parents, you can't expect your mom to let another queen inside the house, right? So I think it's just right that and proper that when you get married, guys, you should find a place. Some may reason out that having a hard time moving out. Some might say that it might be easier. It's actually in your comfort zone if you're living in with your parents because you're used to that. When you get married, you're starting your life, a new life with your partner. So move out, whether it's a small house or a big one, it doesn't matter. As long as both of you have your own place. Well, just to share with you guys, that's what happened to us. Like what she said earlier, we started really young, and like really young. She was my first girlfriend, and my last, obviously. She's my wife now. We got married. Didn't have any means at all. Obviously, it was a problem at first. So back then, I was thinking, what would I do?
He already said what I have to say, so I'm not gonna add anything to that. Kidding. But it's one of the struggles we had when we started because we're already comfortable. I mean, you already have your own house, room, free food. You have everything. You don't have to worry about anything. I want to thank my mom that she made it really impossible for us to live together. Kidding aside, it's more like she really pushed us to leave their house and to stay to another house. And I'm actually grateful because my mom and dad supported us at first. They helped us buy our first house. It was small. It's actually, in Tagalog, butas-butas yung ceiling. May mga ahas na dumadaan. May mga snakes kaming nakikita. We owned the house that's actually empty. And then we left the house that's actually filled already. And
so just to share with you guys, so when we started, we both lived in my parents' house and her parents' house. And to be honest, it's not an easy experience. It wasn't fun. on. It was
Just like everybody else.
yeah, just like everybody else. I know some of you are still living in with either your husband or your wives. Some of you would want to get out, but you don't have any other options. Like you don't have any means to do so. But in our case, we didn't have any means at all. We pushed to do it anyway. Of course, with the help of, luckily, with the help of her parents, we were able to find our own place.
Because they really pushed us.
Yep.
They made us feel unwelcome to their house. Like you have to leave and be independent.
And for me, it's a blessing in disguise.
Yes, it is. I'm
we
thankful.
we learned to be independent. The house was really empty, so small. It's just right for both of us to start a family. But
No utensils or kitchen
no
stuff.
whatsoever.
Just
Didn't have any sofa. Our bed was just like a.
Actually, the bed and the sofa are just the same.
We just started with the basics. God built the house.
If you're looking for a sign to leave your in-laws or your current house at the moment and live on your own, this is it. This is it. Yes, you will definitely have a hard time. It's out of your comfort zone, but there will be a blessing after blessing. You just have to do that. I guess one of the reasons why you have to do that is because
And it's peaceful. Like it's just I know some of you can relate. It's really hard to live with in-laws.
you'll see sometimes.
Yeah,
Also,
you're free
you can
to do what you want.
You can do what you want. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Right. And also, how can you teach your children to be independent when you yourself aren't? How will you teach your children to know how to handle their finances if you're still under one roof? And I'm not saying that you're sinful or you're not doing the right thing if you're actually still living with your in-laws or with your family or with your friends. I'm just trying to say that if you're actually wondering what's wrong with your marriage, try to go there. There might be some privacy issues. There might be some hurtful feelings here or there. You might not know that your spouse actually feels disrespected and he or she is not talking anymore because you live in one roof.
She feels like she doesn't have any right to do so because you know there's an authority
Yep.
in that house, and you know it might cause issues later on. We're not saying it's bad. Current circumstances might not permit you to do so, but as much as possible, if there's a way for you to leave the house or live on your own as a husband and a wife, then do so by all
3,
means.
2,
I also just have to say, if you're single and you already have a girlfriend or boyfriend and you happen to do other things outside marriage, but you're not ready to have a house or live together in one roof with her, kung ititira mo lang siya sa bahay nyo, wag mo siyang galawin, wag mo siyang artihan na para bang misis mo siya, kung hindi mo siya kayang pangatwanan, buhayin, at kung hindi mo kayang palitan ng apelyido niya. Wala kang bayag kung hindi mo siya kayang ilayo sa bahay ng magulang mo o sa bahay ng ibang tao. Be a man. I have 2 boys, and if they get someone pregnant, by all means, leave now. I mean, our in-laws and my parents are so nice to us that they actually took care of us. They let us stay with them. But no for my children. At the end of the day, we just have to be a better example to our kids. Anything to add?
Guess that's it. You said everything.
Sorry guys, I just have to say it. Okay, number 2. I think women will try to cover their ears once they hear this one. Number 2 is nagging. Listen this down because I'm not protecting myself, and I know for sure man will definitely celebrate because they will hear this word, because they know for sure that it's also one of the reasons why they want to call it quits. And to have a happy marriage, you should stop nagging. And I'm talking to myself. And for 16 years now, though I'm actually saying this, that you should stop nagging, I am a certified nagger. I'm good at that. And I guess you're lying if you're not, or maybe you're like Mary, or you're a saint if you're not a nagger. But seriously, the funny thing is that we women tend to not talk when we're mad, trying to not nag. And then the next day, sasabog, and then boom, because you remembered how everything happened. And during those days when you were actually not talking, you'll still bring it up the next day, the next week, because you're not okay with it.
Well, I want to add something to that. Usually, yeah, you're saying it's the wife who does most of the nagging, but newsflash, it's also, there are times also guys do it as well to their wives. Like,
Heard it from the horse's mouth.
yeah, you know, like I'm guilty of that sometimes. For instance, my husband comes home from work and then he finds out that there's no food prepared yet, or there's some household chores not get done, and then he starts nagging the wife because of that. It's not always the wife that nags.
I guess one of the things you also have to watch out for is that when the person nags, check if he's hungry. Because most of the time it's just because the person is hangry, you know, just hungry.
I'm guilty of that.
And angry. I'm also like that. Like, I have to take my medicine 30 minutes before eating my meal. So most of the time, I have to really wait before eating. And so that causes me to be really impatient and angry and hungry and mad. I guess one of the reasons also why women nag is because they expect their partners to actually know what went wrong. Well, men usually, most of the time, don't really know. They don't know if you got offended. They don't know if you're hurt. They don't know. They won't know. Even if you give them the silent treatment, even if you give them the ugly stare, even if you block them, they won't know.
Ouch.
And the funny thing is, they will ask us to tell them what's wrong. And once we tell them, we cry, we blur it out, we nag, they call us nagger. But you also have to go to the third way to not have a happy marriage, and that is communication problem. So if you want to have a happy marriage, you must have good communication. Nagging happens because there's a bad communicator somewhere. Well, it takes two to tango, so it's definitely both of you are not good communicators. So it's more like someone is a good talker and someone is not a good listener. So it's more like that as well.
Yeah, like have to be a good listener. Listening is different from hearing. So especially when your wife tells you something, you should not only listen, but you should also understand what she's saying. It's really important. And then you're just
Ignoring also.
just
Yeah.
ignoring her.
Sometimes other women are actually too prideful to not say things, to not say when they're hurt, to not say anything anymore.
Keep it to themselves.
Yeah, and then they will say that I'm not sure why my husband hurts me, I'm not sure why he does that to me, when in fact she doesn't actually say. But you know what, I get it. Before I don't understand, but now I understand that one of the reasons why women don't talk anymore is because they got tired of telling men what not to do. And we as women tend to feel that they're hopeless, that we're just talking to the wind. We're just telling things to someone who's actually not listening. So at the end of the day, you think you're heard and you heard your wife, but you're not changing it. And so there may be a good communication at least, but if there's no action plan, if you did not change, then there's no sense of actually talking.
Or one way to have good communication is to check on your wife once in a while. So like what she said, some women they tend to keep it to themselves, keep quiet when they feel something, and then we're just clueless what's going on. So as husbands, I think it's best to check on your wife once in a while. You know, simple as saying how she's doing, or if she's okay, or if she needs anything. It's our responsibility as husbands to do that.
Also, another way to communicate is for you to appreciate your spouse. Like when you were courting your wife, you actually say a lot of good things, sumapalabok things to your girlfriend. But once you get married, you don't say things
Tend to
anymore.
keep her for granted.
And
Yeah, I'm guilty of that as well.
I guess it's more like because you know you have the girl already, you won the battle already, you have been chosen so many times, you're together for years. And that is why other women or men try to get other people's attention because they know they have been neglected. They want to get others' attention and see if the husband or the wife will actually react. But sometimes it's too late.
Don't be complacent.
You're too late to the point that someone else got your spouse already. So it's part of the communication as well. And also, if you're gonna communicate, make sure it's honest, it's sincere. Now let's go to our fourth thing that you can do to not have a happy marriage, and that is to lie. So, or to have trust issues. So I guess it's a very complicated thing, especially for men. But to be honest, women also were good liars. Like we tend to think that men love to watch porn, when in fact a lot of women are watching 50 Shades of Grey. Really not a big fan of the guy, but it's not just about trust issues of like lying and all. It's more like you have to own your mistake, own your weakness, know what they are, and you have to savor it so you can change it.
Yeah, so guys, when you do something wrong, the first step is to accept that you did something wrong. So most of the time, we're prideful. We have our own ego to take care of. And that's not healthy for our relationship. When we do something wrong, apologize right away. Don't ever sleep on an argument with your wife. Well, I'm guilty of that with the trust issues. I've done a lot in the past that I really regret. We had issues before with social media, specifically Facebook. So I'm not gonna go into details what happened. But just to gain back her trust, she knows my password.
They do it now, right? Like right now,
Right now, yeah. But
anymore.
before, yeah,
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It came to that point that I don't care if I know his password or not.
because she trusts me right now.
Yeah.
She can access my phone anytime
Yeah.
she wants to.
But I'm done. Gone are the days when I actually check on his phone to see who are his friends, who posted who tagged who, what is he checking out, what is he watching. Gone are the days. When I actually look at his Facebook, it's because I have to laugh and see what's his news feed is, because sometimes it's more positive than what I have. And I guess that's it, or Instagram. But basically not to check on him anymore because I really sincerely trust him. Also, another thing is that when we are in our 5th year of the relationship, I happen to be so guilty and I had the urge to tell him my past. And as someone who has past boyfriends and relationships before him, usually people don't really care. Usually people don't say it anymore. Past is past, you don't really have to say. But for some reason, I don't want to be a stranger to my husband's eyes. I want him to know what kind of a dirtbag I am, what kind of a sinner I am. And I want to have a really clean slate. So I risk that. I risk that 5 years of relationship telling him what kind of a bad girl I am. And truth be told, it was a really, really scary day. and 1 week of not being okay. But it's all worth it. I mean, I could have done it sooner, but I had the guts to tell it to him because that's the time he accepted Jesus as his savior. And because he is changing, trying to be a better man. I don't want to be that woman who's imperfect and a lying woman. I mean, I'm not truthful. So now, I don't care. I mean, he can bump into any of my exes and he knows all the details, all the dirt. I don't care. Because I want to be truthful. I'm not saying that you should do it as well. But, walang baho na hindi maaamoy. Tayo mo na ito maligo. Pero really, it will come out. And if I can't actually say it to my parents, I love to share it with him just so he knows that I feel dirty, I feel unworthy of this love, and at least he knows he's not being tricked. The foundation is better, and every time there's a chance that I got tempted, like I went to an ex's page and I happened to bump into an ex's profile, I immediately tell him, just so I won't forget. Or if there are stories that I have to share with him, I might forget about it. I just screenshot and then share it with him. He knows everything. And that's also where communication lies. It's very important that your husband or your spouse is your best friend. Because if not, then who knows your secrets? Other men, other women? And it's also good that you have other women or other men as your best friends. But your spouse should really, really know you. Next, my husband already mentioned this, but one of the things that can actually ruin your marriage is pride, not the soap.
And definitely in your relationship. Or for instance, you're in a disagreement with your partner, let pride get into your head instead of apologizing or making amends with your partner.
When you don't want to get out of your house or comfort zone just because you don't want to live in an ugly or small home, because you'd rather be in your parents' house. Check your heart. Check your ego. Usually, it's a man's problem, but women is usually prideful in terms of career. And let's go into that, which is the sixth reason why we have a broken marriage or why we have a bad marriage is because we think we're in a competition with each other. I saw this. I saw this happen in most marriages. And I saw this happen to us as well, I think 3-4 years ago. It happens. It will happen. You think you're in a competition with your husband or your spouse because you want to know.
He or she is earning more? Or?
Yeah, earning more, and at the same time, like with your kids, when they say, "Daddy, can you buy me this?" You or thank you, Daddy. Mommy's not mentioned.
Well, I think that's got something to do with pride as well.
Yeah, but also if the kid knows that the mom is also a provider, if they're well taught, then he will thank both. But in our case, they both thank us, right? But in other marriages, I witnessed and I know some couples that their main problem is that they also want
to
provide
each other.
to provide for their own kids, making them look like the star of each reunion, each family's reunion. Like you go to the guy's family, when you're asked, like of course you want to say that, hey, my career is good, and then when your family asks who's gonna buy food, who's gonna buy this one, of course you want to get your own wallet and pay for it, making other people feel like you're the richer rich in this marriage. And sometimes the spouse is not mindful that he's doing that, but others are actually mindful because of their pride. They're very much aware how things are going. Like, they feel that they're belittled just because someone did that. Someone paid for her stuff. Someone paid for his things. So it's more like what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours kind of life.
So your example is more finances. For instance, the wife would feel that she is
More capable,
or more
or smarter,
than the
or
husband.
better. Especially when you're in the same company.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yep.
Right? Like
Right.
your boss is your wife. So you feel belittled. And also, you can hear marriages or couples say, basahan ka lang bago kita nakilala. Sino ka lang? Oo. You know, like stuff like that. And knowing man and their ego, for sure, they'll feel like you're not for them, but you're against them. Despite us thinking that maybe the husband did something, that's why the wife nagged again. At the end of the day, hurtful words, we tend to put it in our heads and not forget about it.
Piled up.
Again, because of pride as well.
Yeah. And then when you don't talk about it, then one day, you'll just.
I see a lot of marriages get broken because of competition. Because they really feel that they're up for a competition, that someone should be greater. I remember when I had a good job and I was earning more than my husband. I was so prideful. I mean, it feels like heaven that finally I'm the one who's earning much, much more than him. I love the feeling that I earn more than him. But I see it. I see our family have issues, like my children. I don't have time for them anymore, for my husband as well. We had a lot of issues, and I was so boastful that I'm not myself anymore. I forgot that I should submit, and eventually God took away that job from me. And I saw that whenever my husband earns much, much more than me, like 90% of the time, he does not really stuck it to my throat. There are times when he's busy or hungry, but I learned from that. I learned that for so many years, he worked so hard for us and he earned more than what I earned. Because I just had a job around 2010 to 2011, then I got pregnant. So again, I worked around 2013 until today. So I didn't have a job for like 6 years at least. Yeah, at least, approximately. And I saw how he actually spent all his money for me, not counting his earnings, his income, and his expenses for me. And so I learned that. It's just that sometimes, and I know you women will understand this one, when you happen to not have your own income for so many years, and people belittle you, call you names, because you don't have your own money. It feels so good that finally you have your own money, and it seems like people don't have a right to say bad things to you anymore. Suddenly, when you have the means or your own income, you have the right to actually silence people, to respect you more. And that is why we tend to be prideful at times. But we just have to be careful. It's okay that the man and the woman have their own good income and job, but someone has to step down. Someone has to make time for the family. Someone has to give time for everything that's going on. And so if that's the wife, husband, appreciate that. Don't make her feel like she's not doing anything. Because she's doing something just so your schedule will meet. She's doing something just so you both have time for each other. And if it happens that the wife has to step up and the husband has to step down, don't belittle the husband, because one way or another, you're a tag team. It's gonna be you and your spouse against the world, not you and your spouse against each other.
It's like this. So if someone sacrificed, appreciate that person. Make time for that person. Don't make that person feel bad.
Okay, so number 7, not knowing the love language. So this is one thing that I just recently found out. So to not have a happy marriage, don't learn what your partner's love language is. So basically, what is your love language? There are a lot of tests for you to find out, but I know mine is more like affirmation, words, touch, and he happens to have what? Splurge, shopping. So imagine this, he's gonna shop for me, but that is not my love language. I am not happy. Yes, I'm happy, of course, super. I mean, I won't be this beautiful if it wasn't for the stuff he buys for me. But because it's not my love language, it's like shooting someone you're not aiming correctly, because that's not the love language of the person. And so mine is affirmations. I need words, I need touch, I need a hug, I need kisses. He lacks that most of the time because his love language is shopping. But you're not mad at me when I don't shop for you, right?
No, I'm not.
Right? Because you're like okay with it.
I'd like to spend all my money to you. Yeah, I don't think I need anything.
So it's like
I
it's
don't know.
not.
I just feel happy whenever I buy you something. Maybe because for so many years when we started, we had nothing, and I neglected you, and a lot of people said mean things to you in the past. You were bullied, so and that's my way to make up for what those people did.
I don't really have a hard time in showing him love because he's okay with anything. But I think one of his love language is also attention. He doesn't say it that much, but I'm good at it. That's why he doesn't, get mad. Like whenever he's there, as much as possible, he wants me to be really be present. That's why when he's gone for work, even though I'm not yet done, I log out for him, just so we can be together.
So when you get to know what your partner's love language is,
Stick to that.
yeah. I know I'm guilty of that sometimes. Like what she said, she needs affirmation, words. She's very easy to please, actually.
Super.
Simple letter would do. She'd prefer a simple letter over shopping bags.
And actually, there are times that people say things like, happy ka na niyan, no? Happy ka na, mas happy ka. Nakakalimutan mo ang mga kasalanan ko if I actually hit on your love language. And that's true, right? Like most of the time. And also, I hope the married couples are the ones who's listening here, but one love language is also sex. And because you're already married, you might forget that you think it's okay to skip on that. It's not, because other women's or other man's love language is that. So if you keep on saying no to that, there's a chance that you're bound to, to have a broken marriage anytime soon. And check on it. Might be the reason. And don't say it's nothing. Love language is really important. It's like this. I'm actually an Ilongga, and he's Ilocano. So if I talk to him in Ilonggo, like, ano ka ha? Nga, nabatian mo ko? Naitsindihan mo ko ha? Right? And if you speak to me in Ilocano, I won't understand anything. So, at the end of the day, you just have to speak and love through your spouse's love language. We're almost done. High expectations and comparison. We do this. I do this. Like when you see people surprise their partners, a date, balloons, extravagant vacation or surprises, I get envious of what other people or wives are getting. And I hope that my husband is also like that. Most of the time, I'm really, really, really envious. But at the end of the day, I just look at what I have instead of what I'm missing. I don't say I'm perfect. There's still days when I watch movies and think to myself, sana ako din, or sana all. Because I wasn't able to experience a grand wedding. We got married in a civil wedding, and it's just simple with friends. There are days when you actually want more because you see people post about it. But at the end of the day, you just have to be grateful so that I won't feel empty because I keep on looking at what other people have.
Instead of comparing, try to look for the positive things about your partner.
I think it's okay to say like sana all, like if it's a joke or what, but also think about the pride or ego of your partner. When you keep on saying things like that, your partner will always feel like he's not good enough. What if yun lang talaga yung kaya niya? What if that's the best he could actually give? Don't compare him to other spouses, to other husbands, because it's not ideal. You just have to compare him to how he was a year ago.
You guys are guilty of this. They have expectations or standards with women, particularly in the physical aspect. I know some guys might be guilty that they want their wives looking good, looking better. Some celebrity.
Like Ivana Alawi.
Yeah, but I think it's your responsibility, men, to take care of your wives. And you know, it's if you want your wife to be pretty, then who else will take care of her but you?
I mean,
Right?
you're
It's
looking
your
for
job. Her like one. Right?
yeah.
So
Like how can the wife act like a princess
a,
if you
a
treat her
simple
like?
trip to the salon, you know, just pamper her. I don't know.
But don't just give her money. Kasi parang ginawa mo siyang puta. You know, be with her, join her sa salon, wait for her, tell her she's beautiful, complete package. Don't give your spouse money and just end it there. Please. Enough of that. I see people do that. And boy, the wives aren't happy whenever men do that. So please don't.
I like that.
No. Of course, I don't like to go to salons now lately, but before I love to, and he's always with me. Like he's staying there for like 6 to 8 hours for my rebond hair treatment. It's a complete experience with him. Just look at the good things, because for sure, if I talk to the person who posted about the extravagant date or surprise, she might say something about my husband too. Like, well, I hope my husband buys me stuff as well. I hope my husband prays with me. I hope my husband does this.
The problem with some people is that
We're not perfect.
you know they have these expectations
Yep.
with their partners, and they compare because of what they see on social media. Well, truth is, some people who post on social media that they have a happy life, you know, they're happy with their spouses and whatnot, but there may be some other thing going on in the background, like just doing it for show. They're not really happy with their lives. So stop comparing your lives.
I read this post. The person said something about don't have high expectations just so people will meet your standards. I think she's right at some point, but no. You must have high standards that your spouse should reach, or at least your boyfriend or girlfriend should reach before you marry him or her. If this is the level of standards and he passed it and you got married, let this be the expectation. If he exceeded that, let that be the expectation. Don't go further. Like, he's not the type who will plan a vacation or plan or decorate stuff or decorate with balloons and all. So he's been consistently like that. So why do I have to ask him to do that thing when in fact it wasn't him all along? So don't ask your husband to do stuff that is actually not him in the first place. Last year, one reason also that you don't have a happy marriage is because you're selfish. So, of course you love to be selfish because you have to love yourself. So we tend to just go over the line. And it's bad when you're actually so selfish that you don't take care of your partner's needs. You don't listen. Like in every vacation that we have in the first 3 to 5 years, I remember him, we go to Boracay and he just swims to the sea, forgets about me. I don't know how to swim.
That's my first time to go there.
Yeah,
I
and
was
also
really
in our
excited.
first ever date outside Manila, and I think what? Yeah, I think he's my boyfriend already. Keeps on swimming. He threw his cap. He asked me to get his cap, and then he was so drunk. He took a bath. He asked me to pag-igib no water. He asked me to actually get him water. So it was really a tough job for me. But you know, I just have to share though. Wait. I just have to share though. I married him because I also got drunk, and they have to leave me inside the house, in a small house, and they all went to the beach again. And he was outside the bahay kubo, the nipa. I've been wanting to share this with you. It was just outside, cold. Pinapapak na siguro siya ng lamok. Really uneasy. And he did not go in. He respected me that much that he's not outside the room. He's not in the living room. He's actually outside the house. And that's one of the reasons, or major reason, why I actually married him. So I don't care about the gifts, you know. It's more of the respect. It's the respect for me. But yeah, selfish. Sometimes it's not really something that you want to do. You just tend to prioritize yourself at times, like save yourself first.
Yeah, no, I'm guilty of that. Even up to now, I tend to be selfish at times.
Because you tend to be busy as well.
Yeah, busy
So you
with
don't
work.
think about other
So,
stuff.
like when I have time for myself alone, then I make the most out of it and not put you in the picture. It's one way to ruin your relationship if you're selfish. So once you get into a relationship, always think of your partner and prioritize your partner above anything else.
When we didn't have money before, I remember we had to like go shopping because once a year we buy shoes for him and my son for school. And there are days that I see women's shoes and he tends to look at where my eyes are, and because there's a certain budget and you don't want to ruin that, I have to pretend to not see it. Or there are times that I'll go to the restroom just so I can check out the shoes, because I get there to fit the shoes or anything because he might see it and I don't want him to feel pressure. I don't want him to feel bad or sad that he can't buy me those stuff. And sometimes my mom will see me looking at stuff and she will tell me, don't go out of the house, you don't have a job, there's no reason for you to buy one, you're just a housewife. And I mean, no offense, mom, but housewives deserve the best as well. We're giving our 100%.
Doesn't mean that
They
don't
don't
work, they don't deserve anything. That's the wrong mentality.
Whenever I feel sad that I can't buy stuff, I just pretend to not see anything. But of course it hurts that whenever they buy something, you're not included in
See,
the
that's one reason why, if you see her shoe rack,
It's a lot now.
I didn't know any of these stuff back then.
Yeah.
I was too insensitive.
I don't have to
I
know.
didn't know that she already feels bad about me buying my shoe.
Because you just have to look.
Yeah,
Right?
I have to buy because
For
I'm
office,
working
for working.
for office. Right now, that's why when we got the means, I'm getting you.
And also, if you just realize, this is one of the reasons why it's not okay for you to live in one roof. Just like what I said, my mom said something bad, baga, malulod pa. That's why it's really hard, because someone will always meddle with your marriage whenever you're in the same roof. And I just have to be selfless, not because I'm the best one out there, but because that's the wisest thing to do. And because I don't have a job, I just have to find ways of providing for a family, like joining contests and winning giveaways, and God provided. So at the end of the day, I might be the selfless one before, but once He had the opportunity to bless me back, because most of my things, when I was single and I was able to buy some stuff, I had to sell those.
Practically left with nothing. So she sold everything.
Yeah.
all her stuff back then. So
Because they don't have a
that's
job, it's
since-
guilty
yeah,
to have those stuff.
that's her way to provide for her family. So we'd be able to buy milk for our kid. She really gave everything away.
And I remember people telling us that you graduated from a fine school and yet you ended
Yeah.
up being like that. Now you're just
There
like,
were also some people who said that we're gonna be stuck in poverty
Yeah.
forever. I don't know if you still remember you said that, but you did
I
anyway.
think she does not. To be selfless is not really that easy anymore nowadays because we tend to take care of ourselves first and foremost before anyone else. But the best way to compete with one another is to actually be selfless. Outgive one another. You know, whenever my husband gives me something, I'll do my best to give him time, to give him love, to take care of him. Actually, I cannot outgive my husband. I don't think so because he's the one who's doing most of our household chores. He's taking care of me, he's massaging me. He's also helping out my kids. So I cannot really outgive him. So if there are things that I can keep to myself so that he won't be stressed and buy those stuff from me, that I hope he won't find out after this. No, but
I'll find out.
seriously. No, seriously. If there are things that I can actually keep to myself just so he won't be stressed or he won't, spend that much for me, I do it. People think that I'm the crazy spender, but I'm really not. It's actually him. And if I can control, I will control. But most of the time, if we buy it, it's because we came to the point that we really have to, right? It's hard to be selfless, but I guess no marriage will work if you're actually that selfish. Last but not the least, the hardest one to discuss, oh my gosh, religion.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just say that when I met my husband, I was a born-again Christian and my husband is a Catholic.
Catholic.
Nothing wrong about it, first and foremost. Disclaimer, I'm not saying that you should be a Christian or you should be a Catholic. It's not that. I'm saying that religion would be your number one issue because, one, you don't have the same beliefs. How will you go to church? We'll be separated for sure because you have different churches. Kids will have a hard time knowing the truth. And though I know Marielle and Robin have the same setup, and eventually their kids will decide on their own, but it's not that easy. Another reason why religion could be an issue is that if you don't believe in the same thing, like just what I said earlier, there will be tons of conflicts because his values are not the same as yours. Like for me, porn is offensive because it's a sin. That's what I read in the Bible. It is a sin because you're lusting other women. You're checking out other women. You're objectifying other women. You're not doing it with your wife. You're thinking and imagining yourself with another woman. But if it's from another religion, chances are it's okay. Chances are it's just training. Chances are it's nakakalalaki, nakakamatch. It's fine. So that's one thing though, right? Like values will be different. Even teaching and discipling the kids will be different. See, it's really a must. But we got married in the city hall because we can't get married at church.
Yeah.
Because we have different religion.
Yeah.
And our parents weren't around.
Religion was an issue for us at
Yeah.
first because like she just said, I had my own beliefs back then. I was Catholic, but as a Catholic, to be honest, I had a lot of questions myself. Why are we doing things the way we are doing things? And there are a lot of questions actually in the religion. So
Part of my submission to him as his wife
she
is that
went to church with me
Yeah.
when we were starting.
I stopped being a Christian for some time.
Right. And then eventually I gave being a Christian a chance.
Actually, it's not really like a chance. You watched a CD.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not something that it was implied to you.
Yeah,
It was your whole decision.
She wasn't.
You chose the
She
video.
wasn't imposing it to me. Yeah.
I wasn't, but I'm always praying for you.
Yeah.
And I always answer you. I always ask him, like, why is it that when we give tithes, I see people throwing 1 peso or throwing wrappers? Why is it that when we give
Yeah, that
tithes,
was my question actually. One of my
why is it
questions.
that when we give tithes we have to mention
when
the
I
name?
learned
When it's a big amount?
when I attended the Christian churches, and then they mentioned that it should be 10%
Yeah.
of what you're earning.
Yeah.
That's one of my questions before. Like, why is it being tolerated that we're just putting in a meager amount as tithes?
Whenever
And why it's not being imposed
whenever
when
we
it's in the
debate
Bible?
on religion, it's
Yeah,
more like
it's really
a debate. He tells me his final call is more like, that's my belief, I don't want to change it, that's it.
yeah.
Don't force me to do it,
I wasn't open.
right? But I keep on praying for you.
I
Because
didn't
I
know.
know.
I didn't know in the background.
But you know that I worship, right? After I take a bath, I worship inside the
She's
room.
worshiping
I consistently
on her own.
worshiping
Yeah.
inside the room, praying for him, praying
And then
for the family.
one day I saw this this documentary.
He bought it himself. I did not choose it.
That was Hell is
Hell is
Real.
real.
At the end of that documentary, the pastor asked us to pray and surrender our lives to Jesus, and then that's what I don't know what happened in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, suddenly I was just crying
Yep.
at the end of documentary. I was really like, in tears, and then yeah, that day I surrendered my life to God, and then yeah.
I feel a bit bad though because I'm not the main reason why he became a Christian, because I'm not the one who did that. I mean, he followed the prayer that's coming from a video. I'm not the one, but it's more like I planted the seed. But at the end of the day, it's more like he's ready. Whatever is planted there, you're ready already. But actually, we thought it's over and done with. Our problems are gonna be over, once he becomes a Christian. But no, it's a process of living with God and asking help, asking for His grace every day. It's not gonna be perfect, but I'm just trying to say that if you're not yet married, look for someone or find a person who actually fears God. It's not just really about what that person's religion is. No. It's more like how much does he love Christ? How much of his time is dedicated to Christ? Well, yours wasn't that good, but at least you prayed to Saint Jude before you met me, right? So yeah, more of that. But and also it's more like trying to see if there's peace in every decision that you have. At the end of the day, who should change a religion? Is it gonna be you or him? And you're gonna be blessed if you do it before your marriage, just so it's clearer. But it's a process. And if your decision is right, if you actually marry the right person, eventually you will know. You will know what religion is best. But my take on it is that it's not really about the religion. It's about your personal relationship with Christ, how you see God, how is your walk with God every day, how you prioritize God in everything you do. It's more like that. Because I believe it matters, because if God is at the center of your marriage, 100% your marriage will work. 100% you will have all these problems. But once God meddles, once God is the third party in your marriage, definitely things will go well eventually. Because one of the reasons why I trust him is because he became a Christian. It's because I know he fears God. He won't do anything that will cause God to get mad at him. Because he loves God, I know he will love me to the fullest. Though, of course, we're imperfect. We're humans. We still make mistakes. We're still not good enough. But at least, it's not intentional. And most of the time, even when it is, you are corrected. Because you have the Holy Spirit telling you if it's right or wrong. What religion works better? No. Who's that person who's actually more committed to Christ? That's where you focus more on. If it happens to be the woman who has a better faith, better relationship with Christ, the guy should also ask help from the lady. Pray with each other. Ask for counseling. Have Bible study. Best way to do it. All through Christ alone. So there you go. Those are the 10 ways to not have a happy marriage. So the only way to have a better marriage is to actually do the opposite of those things. We are not perfect.
Actually guilty
Of most of
them,
this as well.
right?
Yes.
Right. And we're not saying that this is just the list. There could be more to it. You know, like, but at least that's what we think.
Yes, and also once you have Christ, you're already set. Because if you love Christ, you're not going to be selfish. You won't have trust issues. You won't have self-pity. You'll be confident because you have Christ. So I want to take this opportunity to also pray with you guys. Just a quick prayer, just so if ever you stumbled upon this video, maybe God is telling you to do something and fix your marriage. Maybe this is your sign to fix your relationship. Or maybe this is something that you need to have peace. Alright, so let's pray. Lord, thank you for this day that you have given us. We thank you that this person is watching this video and we have the opportunity to share our knowledge and wisdom about marriage. And I just pray, Lord, that you give peace to this person or to this couple. Continue to give them your love, your grace. I pray, Lord, for forgiveness to be upon them. I pray, Lord, for unity and harmony to be upon them. I just pray, Lord, for your presence right now. And I pray, Lord, that if there are any issues that this couple is having at the moment, I just pray, Lord, that you be with them, Lord. Remind them of your love and how much they love each other. I pray, Lord, that they won't give up. I pray, Lord, that you protect them from any plans of the enemy. And I just pray, Lord, that you'll continue to work harder and strive for the best and continue working on the relationship. Father, continue to give us wisdom and grace every day and strength. And I pray, Lord, that you help us become better more and more each day. Thank you, Lord, for everything. I just pray, Lord, for complete healing, restoration, Lord, for each and every one of us. Thank you, Father, for everything, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Comment down below and let me know what you think about this video. If you want to add more in the list and if you have any questions, just let me know. I hope you like this video. Let's see if I can pull him up anytime for the next one. So just let me know. I hope to see you in the next one. God bless you. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Grow more, learn more. Subscribe now.
That's it!
Connect with me on Facebook, DM me on Instagram, or learn more about me on my blog, misinformation.blog. See ya!